20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. Chapter 2 The Iron Monster. For a long time, the voyage of the Abraham Lincoln was uneventful. But one day in June, we were able to see a demonstration of Ned Land's amazing skill. We'd met with an American whaling ship that day. Its crew knew we had Ned Land on board. They asked for his help with the whale they were chasing. Fate served the harpooner well that day. Instead of one whale, he had harpooned two. And he struck one of them straight to the heart. If a monster ever had to deal with Ned Harpoon, I wouldn't bet on the monster. The crew was constantly on the lookout. They ate little and slept little. 20 times a day, a sailor would call out that he saw the monster. But it was always a false alarm. The men were in a constant state of excitement. For 3 months, the Abraham Lincoln traced back and forth across the waters of the North Pacific. In fact, the entire coast of the American continent was explored. Finally, the crew decided the search was useless. Exhausted, they wanted nothing more than to return home. Captain Farragut asked them to hold on for 3 more days. If the monster wasn't found by then, the Abraham Lincoln would head for home. 2 days passed. 1,000 schemes were tried to attract the monster's attention. A large amount of bacon was thrown overboard. The sharks feasted on it very well. The crew took off in small boats, searching everywhere. But nothing was found. I urged Conseil to join the search. Come, Conseil, I said. This is your last chance to win $2,000. If I may say so, Conseil replied, I don't think anyone will win that prize. You're probably right, I agreed. This was a waste of time after all. We should have been back in France 6 months ago. Conseil nodded. If I had been working in your museum, sir, I would have already classified all your fossils. As you say, Conseil, I suppose we shall be laughed at for our troubles. I sighed. Then I heard Ned Land shouting, Look out there! I see it! I see it! The entire crew, captain, officers, sailors, cabin boys, rushed toward Ned Land. Under the water, we could see a great oval shape. The thing was glowing. I could tell the light was caused by electricity. "It's moving," I cried. "It's coming toward us." A great cry rose up from the crew. "Silence!" the captain thundered. "Reverse the engines." As the ship retreated, the thing came right behind her, moving twice as fast. We gasped for breath. We stood frozen, unable to move as we watched the thing gaining on us. It made a circle around the ship, forming a ring like shining dust. Then it sped off. Soon it was 2 or 3 miles away. Commander Fairgood turned to Ned Land. "If we came close enough, Mr. Land, would you try to harpoon it?" he asked. "Certainly, sir," Ned replied. "Make up your fires and put on all steam," the captain called out to the engineer. The crew cheered, knowing the time for attack had arrived. Clouds of black smoke poured out of the ship's smokestack. The Abraham Lincoln went straight for the animal. The creature allowed the ship to come close, very close. Then it turned away. We chased it for almost an hour, but we never got close enough to harpoon it. "Engineer, put on more pressure," the captain said. Now, huge puffs of steam poured from the ship's valves. The ship was speeding forward at 18.5 miles an hour. But the cursed animal swam just ahead of the Abraham Lincoln at the very same speed. For another hour, the ship kept up its chase, but it didn't gain an inch. A stubborn anger seized the crew. The captain twisted his beard, and then he began to chew it. "We shall catch it," Ned Land cried out. But just as he was about to let loose his harpoon, the animal sped further away. A cry of furious frustration broke from the crew. Hours passed. By then, the ship must have covered 300 miles. When night came on, the animal finally stopped moving. Perhaps it's tired at last, I thought. The captain gave his orders, and the Abraham Lincoln moved slowly toward the animal. Our eyes were dazzled by its electric glow. No one breathed. A deep silence fell on deck. Ned Land raised his harpoon and threw it. I heard the weapon strike something hard. The electric light went out. Suddenly, two huge spouts of water arose from the sea and came crashing down on the deck. Water rushed from the front of the ship to the back, knocking men off their feet. Then everyone felt a great shock. Before I could stop myself, I was thrown over the rail and into the sea. The darkness was intense. When I could see, the lights of the Abraham Lincoln were far in the distance. I was lost. "Help! Help!" I cried out as I tried to swim toward this disappearing ship. My clothes weighed me down. They seemed glued to my body. I was sinking. My mouth filled with water. I struggled, but the tide was pulling me under. Suddenly, I felt myself being lifted above the waves. Someone was speaking these words in my ear. If Master would lean on my shoulder, Master could swim more easily. "Conseil, is that you?" I gasped. "It is," Conseil said. "I am waiting for my master's orders." "Were you also thrown into the sea by the shock?" I sputtered. "I wasn't," Conseil answered. "But as I am in my master's service, I jumped in after him." I was not surprised that the worthy Conseil thought this was the natural thing to do. "What happened to the Abraham Lincoln?" I asked when I caught my breath. "I think that Master had better not count on her," Conseil said. "I heard some men say her rudder was broken. That was the only damage. But the ship cannot turn around." "Then there is no hope for us," I wailed. "Perhaps," Conseil said. "But we are not out of time yet. And one can accomplish a great deal in just a few hours." Conseil's cool manner lifted my spirits. Perhaps the Abraham Lincoln would send a boat to look for us. We decided to swim toward it. This is how we managed. One of us would lie on his back, floating, while the other pushed him forward. every 10 minutes or so, we would trade places. Although our chances were slim, I dared not lose hope. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, I became terribly tired. My body stiffened with violent cramps. Conseil struggled to keep me afloat. I could hear him panting. "Leave me," I told him. "Leave my master?" he cried. "Never. I would drown first." Just then, the moon appeared. In its beams, I saw the ship. It was about 5 miles away. I tried to cry out, but no sound escaped from my swollen lips. "Help! Help!" Conseil began yelling. An indistinct sound seemed to answer him. "Did you hear that?" I murmured. "Yes, yes," Conseil said. This time, there was no mistake. Again, a faint human voice was calling out to us. Conseil began towing me toward the voice. My strength was gone. Extreme cold crept into my bones, and I began to sink. Then my feet struck a hard surface. By the light of the moon, I saw a face I recognized. "Ned, thank God it's you," I cried. "Were you also thrown into the sea?" "Yes, sir, I was," Ned answered. "But I was luckier than you. I found a place to stand. We're on top of the monster right now. And now I know why my harpoon didn't enter its skin." "Why, Ned? Why?" I asked. "Because, Professor, the monster is made of iron," Ned said. I stomped my feet. The blow made a metallic sound. Then I understood. We were on the back of some sort of submarine. The thing rose out of the water. I heard a noise come from inside. Then an iron plate was moved aside, and a man appeared. He let out an odd cry and quickly vanished. Some moments later, 8 men wearing masks came out and took us inside. This is the end of Chapter 2. Please come back later for Chapter 3. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.